but why do they talk about it on television?
I don't know.
That's what I will never understand that. Then your kids have to live with that tape for the rest of their lives.
He needs to take the Blago approach, man. So I didn't do it. This is all a big misunderstanding, and I'm going to have a reality show next week. See you later. Bye.
Exactly. Well, you could do that, but to get up there and admit it, I mean, your kids are watching that, and they're going to hear about it. And again, tape doesn't go away.
And what kind of moxie this guy got? His wife then makes a statement saying it's my fault. I kicked him out of the house 2 weeks ago. You know, it's all my fault. I don't blame for what he did. It's my fault. I'm going to take him back. I stand by my husband. Man,
no. She didn't say that.
I thought she did, Brent.
No, she said she kicked him out 2 weeks ago, and she would take him back if he made progress. There was a qualifier.
Oh, well, okay, fine. Progress is what?
No, she's a hard ass.
Oh
no, Mrs. Sanford is not.
Did you?
In fact, she basically said, unlike every other political wife, I'm not going to sit and humiliate myself by having this guy living in my house. And I kicked him out.
Here's where I have respect for Sanford and for Senator Ensign that just recently had one out of Nevada. They didn't drag their wives out there on camera.
Yes, I agree with that completely.
You know, Governor McGreevey and Larry Craig with a wide stance, and Spitzer and David Vitter, they all drug their wives out in front of the camera, which they didn't deserve. Those women did not deserve that.
Are you sure Vitter did?
Yes.
How about
but if you're willing to go out there with your husband, you kind of deserve it, because my wife would tell me, F off.
My wife would say
she would never step foot in front of the camera.
Can I tell you what Donna would do? Donna would trump your press conference by having her own, saying, hey, let me tell you something about this guy, what you guys really don't know about him. He's going to give you the babyface version, but let me give you the shoot.
Yeah.
And she said, her press conference would be the next haul down from yours.
It'd be much more entertaining.
Right. She said, this piece of crap. Let me tell you what, I'm going out with his boss, Bubba Clem, next week. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Touche.
At least walk out there by yourself and take your lumps by yourself.
And at the end of it, said, could I get your email? We swap emails, whatever.
Tucker, you're so right. Shut up, man. You are burying yourself. I mean, you're basically living play-by-play of being a jackass.
And you're hurting your kids. They're 20 years from now, they're going to be fooling around on YouTube and pull this up.
Well, I can't think of anything that you're not hurting. You're not helping your political career. You're not helping your family life. You're not helping your being able to be hired on as anybody legitimate and in the private sector. You're done. The more you talk,
you're done.
The more you talk,
done.
the larger your hole you're burying yourself in.
Yeah.
If you walk out and say, you know what, this is a very, very disturbing time for me. I've made some mistakes. I'm trying to get with my family, and we're trying to move on past this.
I think that's even too much. But
I mean, you got to give a little something, but you don't say, well, I got her email. She's a hot little bitch, and she was having problems with her husband, and she has her 2 boys there, and I was going to try to help her out through that. And so I decided to get a plane ticket, went on down there, and.
It was a mission of mercy.
And it began just on a very casual basis. Hey, I got this issue that's come up with my life, or vice versa. What do you think? Because now, Tucker, and I can talk from firsthand experience, a person that's really full of himself likes to talk a lot, and maybe this guy is so full of himself, he just wants to hear himself talk.
Oh, I don't think there's any question about it. And there's also the presumption that, people are interested in there was a lot of psychobabble, like baby boomer psychobabble in here.
Totally.
Did you notice that?
Yeah. I totally did. I was like, now you're going against everything that you've said you ever stood for when you start going through that stuff. I was like, what is this? Just go up there and tell them it's none of their business, or I'm sorry, just make it short and walk off.
Right. It was very kind of girly and self-involved.
Your boy Paul Belgata on the Bill Maher show over the weekend. Did you get a chance?
No, I didn't.
I think that
this is Meghan McCain.
Oh, this is Meghan McCain.
This is Meghan McCain, and she tries to get in a verbal battle with Paul Begala, and you can guess how that works
out. I was not the biggest fan. There are things I like about him, there are things I don't like about him.
By the way, Spice, she's pretty damn steamy, is she not?
Yeah.
I don't think he was a great president, but what I think is that the Obama administration really has to stop completely blaming everything on its predecessor, completely. And I really am sick of hearing, we were handed this, I know, everyone knows, but we need to move on. Same thing, the theme with me, we need to move on.
You think that's what Obama's doing? You think he's doing?
I do, to a degree.
Well, not to...
And then you're in trouble on Bill Maher when you get, people laughing at you.
And then Paul Begala steps in right here, and I'm like, oh.
Here you go, Tuck.
Not to enough of a degree. I'm sorry. Not nearly enough. Ronald Reagan blamed Jimmy Carter every day for 8 years.
He said Ronald Reagan blamed Jimmy Carter every day for 8 years.
Which is totally in bounds.
In the speech, In the speech, what President Bush said, one of the things he's had to adjust
I wasn't born yet, so I don't know.
Oh, my God.
Listen to this line right here. She said,
God, that's... I wasn't born during the French Revolution, but I know about it.
Tucker, he's very much like you, is he not?
Yeah, I mean, I worked with Paul for years. We do a lot of speeches together. I know Paul very well. I mean, we were co-hosts on the same show. He's an excellent debater and extremely fast. And Meghan McCain, whom I know fairly well,
I bet you do,
is a sweet girl. She shouldn't be on TV as a political philosopher.
What you're trying to say is she's dumb as the day is long.
You know what? I don't think she's dumb. I mean, I think she's brave to go on that show. I mean, the problem with Bill Maher is he has all these trained monkeys in the audience who, applaud at whatever they think they should be applauding at.
As you know that you've been on the backside of that.
But you got to give Bill Maher credit.
Oh, I've been on the backside of that because I honestly don't care.
No, you don't care about
Bill
nothing.
Maher a number of times, and it doesn't bother. I went on with Spike Lee, who was saying how the white man blew up the levees in New Orleans to kill black people, and everybody applauded.
You put him right in his place, and you got to admit, Bill Maher does tell the audience to shut up quite a bit.
Yeah, hold on, I got to play the second part.
And finally, new rule: he's your president, not your boyfriend. Now, last week in this space, I criticized President Obama for not fighting corporate influence enough, and it made some liberals very angry. My phone rang off the hook, my email filled up, and Nancy Pelosi got so mad her face moved. Look, folks, I like Obama too. I'm just saying, let's not make it a religion. And as far as you folks on the right who think that we're now somehow in league, we're not in league. I was criticizing Obama for not being hard enough on the corporate douchebags you live to defend. I don't want to be on your team. Pick another kid.
Tuck, your comment on that, Tuck.
I mean, I think, was he like the leader of a movement? I don't know. I mean, look, I think most of the time Bill Maher says things that are totally conventional and everybody agrees with and, gets a lot of credit for pretending to be brave. But I agree with that. I wish he'd made that point earlier that the guy's not Jesus. I mean, Now,
let me ask you a question. President Obama had a press conference earlier this week, and in about an hour, he didn't mention the word Iraq or Afghanistan one time. What's your opinion on what this may be saying?
Well, no one's paying attention to those two places.
I mean, since we're not paying attention and we could care less, then why don't we leave? Why don't we just get out of there?
Well, I tend to kind of agree with you. I do. The fact that he's escalating our involvement in Afghanistan strikes me as pretty unwise.
Honestly. I mean, it really is. Isn't that against? Now, everybody's like, I drank the Kool-Aid, but isn't that exactly what he said he was not going to do?
No, it's what he got sucked into saying he was going to do, because he got sucked into this. We're in fighting the wrong war formulation.
How many wars do we have to fight?
That's a great question. Look, Afghanistan is a Stone Age country, and our job is not to make it Belgium. I mean, we've sort of, how about this? In one sentence, sum up our mission in Afghanistan. What is it, to eliminate the Taliban entirely? Is it to pave the roads? Is it to make sure that every citizen gets to vote? Is it to let girls go to school? I mean, I don't really know what our goal there is.
And who are we to be the world police? Let them beat each other up and be mean to women and wear flip flops and eat camel poop. Let them do what they got to do.
I did a lot of reading about the Taliban. It would be analogous to China telling us, a country next to Mexico, that they're going to come into Mexico and eliminate all the Catholics from Mexico.
Well, I think we obviously had a right to go in and destroy the regime that made 9/11 possible. I mean, and good for us for doing that. And we blew up the Taliban, and we haven't caught Mullah Omar or Osama bin Laden. I think we ought to keep trying, and we have a right to be there for that purpose, obviously.
Tucker, do you think that we'll ever...
But I don't think we should build the nation. Like, why is that? Why is nation building in Afghanistan our job or responsibility?
Well, do you think that we'll ever find Osama bin Laden? And how can the most powerful country with technology and surveillance and stuff that we have that you and I aren't even privy to, the most technologically advanced, so we think, country in the world, and we can't find some 6'5", camel jockey that's on dialysis? I mean,
I've been to that region and been to the area where he is apparently hiding, and I can understand it completely. I mean, for one thing, there's no way to be in that area incognito unless you're, a native Pashtun speaker, people are going to know immediately